Everybody, it's Jamie Pate coming in here with a scrapbook page and some ideas for just kind of making ideas work when you really need them to work. Let's get started. Okay, so what am I talking about? So you can see here I have several photos. There's even more off to the side here that I had printed, and I'm kind of needing to make some decisions. Oops. Well, I can't find my other ones. I have two more. They're not here right now. I think they're on my tray for another project. I just decided, you'll see what I mean here in a minute. I just decided to move those to another project. Okay, so what I wanted to do was create kind of a celebration page. And that was going to be using this photo. I thought I was going to bring this one in also. It was ended up being a 2-page spread, which is fine, right? We're not beholden to our stories being held in any one particular shape. So I'm working in the storyline chapters. This one happens to be from the Set Sail collection of Heidi Swapp. I'm still working in these 7.5 by 9-inch page spreads. So I was kind of thinking, just so you have some insight into what I was thinking, I was going to do this over here, and I was going to have this over here, which kind of works. But I was struggling. You ever just struggle? You ever just like, okay, my image and my vision in my head is not happening. So then I don't really have to have this. This is a totally different story. But I was kind of doing a sort of a birthday inventory kind of a story. But at the same time this photo got taken, all these photos here were taken. And if you have been part of the Print Your Photos class that I have on my online course website, then you're familiar with this 2x2 12 photo template. I show you how to put this photo template. You get the photo template as a download in that class. So I'm just like, okay, let's just like get all these photos that you love so much, because when you trim them down, they will just fit in here and completely cover a page, which is perfect, right? But okay, here's the other thing I was trying to bring in here. Spring. I just wanted this to feel like spring. Yeah, I know we got some wintry photos in here. There's another one I thought maybe I didn't put it in here. I have one because we had a big storm, a spring storm. But you know, this is really what I wanted to use, but it wasn't clicking for me. Okay, so then we start bringing in the vellum, right? So here was the vellum that I was going to bring in here. It still was not, I just still couldn't make it work. I still wasn't feeling it. And the reason for the vellum was just to kind of tone down all the different pattern and color and the story that wasn't really connecting with the feel that I wanted over here. Okay, so what do? Well, the next thing I came up with, I forgot I had this. This is a Mente. Did I say that right? Okay, I believe it's called Mente Papers, and this is one of their vellums. And actually, this vellum is so cool. It has just ever so subtle texture on the top. Well, when I came across that, I'm like, oh wait, that could feel very light and spring-esque and celebratory. Yet I still have all those photos in there, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I have trimmed down the photo template. I'm keeping it all intact. One of the reasons I love photo templates, and I'm probably going to see me use them even more because I don't know. This would be a whole post right here, I think, to talk about photo templates, but I'm just giving myself plenty of room on the dotted vellum, and I'm just going to trim it so that I am able to then not only cover the photo template that's going to be in place there on the page, but I'm going to then create a crease all along the side so that it can open, of course, because I don't want the photos behind the dotted vellum and then you can't see the photos. That's not my point here. I want to be able to lift the vellum. And so that's what I'm doing here. And I decided to give the crease to both sides of the vellum. It wasn't folding right. So then, because vellum's tricky, right? To give it a crease and then to fold it, a straight edge came in super handy here. I already had my score, so the straight edge just helped to make sure I got a really good crease. So I was happy how that worked out. So I'm wrapping that, then it's basically going to be wrapped around the photo template, right? So just adding adhesive, Going to then, I'm creating another page. I'm creating a page inside this page. I don't know why I don't do this more often. It's a funny thing about scrapbooking when I've just not done a lot of it this year. And I'm kind of alluding to that in a recent blog post. So this, I guess this is me. I don't want to skip this part. So I'm using my guide here, my mat, to line up a 1/2 inch of this paper onto the back of the photo template. And then I'm going to score right up against the photo template so that this too opens up, because I predetermined I have a lot to say about what's going on these pages. And I wanted to make sure I had plenty of room to say it. So I'm going to have a whole entire page underneath my photo template. And so that's what I'm doing here. And I decided to grab this scoreboard. It was just a little easier for what I was doing. So I scored it, and then I trimmed off another 1/2 inch. So then I have this page flip. So this is going to go back into the album first, back onto my page. I'm adding the adhesive there. I already have the vellum in place. Now I'm adding this little page. So it's almost like 2 pages within a page. So we'll come back to that later. Right now we're going to work on the left side. And this was like my whole thing was this page. I just wanted to use this paper. It's a scrap of paper left from the 49 Market Spice collection. I think it's so beautiful. I'm feeling spring so hard right now. And so I'm just going with that's the piece that we can use at another time, so don't throw that away. I'm just going with what I'm feeling right now. But I also had other things in mind with this side of the page. And that was, I knew I wanted that picture with my granddaughter and I. I knew I wanted to give some focus to my birthday. I knew right around my birthday, I've got all this family and all these stories going on. And so it needed this whole page spread for me. So I'm trying to make sure I have it inside my book so that I can still close the book and I still have plenty of room. I end up still kind of fidgeting with it. So just be mindful. You might have to fidget with that if this is something you're doing as well. The edges of these pages are rounded, so I'm just coming in there. And even though my sides of my pages are torn, I am rounding the edges of the pages. I think I've repeated that now 3 times. Okay, so now is a real fidgety part. So I had the celebration banners, and I had that celebrate, and I had some colors already cut out, and I had that stamp piece. That's from Waffle Flower. I'm digging that. I need to do a whole thing on that because that's an incredible little die set there. Those are the bold numbers. And I'm like, I was going to cut them out of cardstock, but I'm like, no, I need to talk to my vellum page. So I die cut those out using the same vellum as on the right side. Love that. Love when these elements repeat and kind of talk to each other. So I've kind of fidgeted around with the pieces that I know are going to go on my page. So at this point, I'm just going to start layering everything on. I started with a photo, only added adhesive right in the middle. I've said that before. I do that a lot just because I want to be able to tuck things like this. This was literally a scrap of paper in other scraps of paper, and I wanted to use it because it's so pretty here. And that is, I actually redid that little postage piece and I added some stamping to it. It's going to end up being covered up, but that's okay. That's just what happens sometimes. I'm stapling the 5/6 together, and then I'm grabbing, I think I've grabbed the 3 millimeter, no, this might be just the 1 millimeter of the square foam dots. I guess they're foam squares, not foam dots, Jamie. I'm using the roses paper. This was just me showing you that I'm using the roses paper because I thought it just went really well with this particular watercolor kind of background. Like I said before, I had several of these banners already cut out, and I ended up using the ones that were from the roses paper. It just felt better. And sometimes you have to have some options, go with it and see what works for you. This little technique here I employ quite often. It's the 1/8 inch foam dimensional tape, and I'm only adding it to parts of this Celebrate banner, and I think it's going to float good enough, and if not, I'll have to add some more adhesive underneath, but I think it's going to be okay. And so then just going to get that in place. And I so I had the Celebrating piece in place. I tuck it under the photo. I'll probably I'm trimming off on that left side. That to me was like everything had to come around that. And this is what Jamie does so very often. She's working on a thing, then she gets distracted to go work on another thing. So I had this hello cut out, and I wanted to use this negative part of it. I've been using this die set so much, the hello and the celebrate part. Sometimes you get a die set just because of certain parts of it, and I've been working this hello. I think I'm going to show you here in a minute somewhere else where I've used it recently. And the same idea. I've been using both the negatives and the positives. But I thought this was useful here in kind of framing in the embellishments going on. It came to my head, and as I kind of played with it, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of what this needs. So it's hello 56, celebrate, da da da. Yep, there it is. I just threw that in there. Kind of really similar page there. Do you see a theme going on here? So hello is in place with the 1/8 inch strips as well. Happy with that. I feel like it's kind of giving that some framework. Now she's going to play with the banners. And I don't think you can really go wrong with the banners. But I kind of came away at the end with, wow, that didn't look great. It could have done better with that. And I could have. At the same time, I think these elements are really forgiving. It's not like there's any one particular way, just like anything else, right? There's no one particular way for us to put something on our page. It's our page. We can put the things on our page that we want to. But I grabbed the Artiste glue because I felt like I could just kind of get underneath with that long, thin tip and just kind of get the glue right where I needed it to be. I still ended up making a mess. And what's so great about this glue is that it dries clear. Aren't we all glad for that? Can I get an amen? Yes, I was so glad for that. I still ended up coming in with my craft pick tool and kind of clean up the glue. Because even though it's going to dry clear, I'm like, okay, but that globby is kind of messing with me. I just felt better cleaning it up. So that's all that I'm doing here. I might do this another time. I put that stamp block on place so that my banners would stay in place while they're being glued down. Now, I feel like this flag banner does need to be like the last banner that goes into place. That's just me. And it's not a rule. So you didn't hear me make this a rule. It's just how I'm going about it. I wanted those little smaller pieces, almost looks like lights and like bauble kind of streamers. I'm not even sure, but I love them anyway. But the flags to me felt like it needed to go last. And this die set actually has layering pieces. I just didn't want to bother with the layering pieces. Okay, so this is where I ended up, I'm not really sure I like that because I kind of left this space there. That space really bothered me. I don't know. Well, I'm like, what are we going to do about me? I know what we're going to do. We're going to come in here in a minute as I still fuddle with these pages. With these banners. I'm going to come in here with that sentiment strip, and it's going to go, when I put the sentiment strip in place, I was like, oh, that looks great. I love how things, the moral of the story, do you want the moral of the story? I'm going to tell you. The moral of the story is just keep fuddling, just keep playing, just keep moving stuff around. It's okay. Okay, so that page is basically done, but I didn't feel I needed this to kind of connect to my other page. So I'm adding in this strip of washi tape. I think it's from Tranquility. I had added it again over on the left side. Of course, then when I'm looking at it here, I'm like, now you can't see it at all. So I came in here with the straight edge and just tore a strip of the vellum off. And just some of the washi is peeking through. I didn't even really need a lot of it, but I just felt the two pages needed to talk to one another. I think that's kind of an important design element. So I'm reaching into my ephemera catalog, and this is a completely different collection, which I think is great. That's why I think it's so wonderful to have these pieces laid out like this, because you might be able to use something from something else. I felt that tag matched with my left side, so I'm making it work. And what I'm doing here is repeating the elements. I'm thinking I might need to get another piece of that postage die and put it on the other side just for some reinforcement. But I'm using all similar elements to what I have on the left side, repeating the elements because it brings us cohesiveness to the whole entire page. And as we get finished here, I'm really happy how it turned out. It took a little bit of struggle, and I even had to walk away from this like for a whole day, and then it came to me how I wanted this to look. So I'm glad for the struggle. I'm glad to have come out on the other side, loving this page. It's a mixed story. I got all kinds of room behind my photos to tell all kinds of story, which was the heart of what I wanted this page to be about. And so I'm going to give you a little quick look here, you'll be able to see some of these close-up images on my blog. If you have any questions, I would love to hear from you. Just say hi in the comments as well. Thank you so much for being here. See you in the next video.